I'm Cheryl, and this is Sleep Tight Relax, a weekly bedtime show for kids who need a good sleep. In tonight's story, a wise ruler challenges their 3 children to find the most extraordinary dog, with a promise that the winner will inherit the throne. The youngest child, full of curiosity and kindness, embarks on an adventure that leads to a mysterious castle, ruled by a beautiful white cat. Over the course of a year, the young traveler and the white cat form a deep bond as they prepare for the ruler's increasingly difficult challenges. Along the way, they learn valuable lessons about friendship, loyalty, and the importance of kindness. As the final test approaches, the white cat reveals her true identity, and the young traveler discovers that sometimes the greatest rewards come from unexpected places. Before we get started with our story, take a moment to get cozy, comfortable, and relaxed. Wiggle into your favorite spot, whether it's under the covers, on a soft pillow, or cuddled up with your favorite stuffed friend. Now, let's take a deep breath in through your nose, hold it for a moment, and slowly breathe out through your mouth. Feel your body start to relax as you let go of any tension. Imagine you're lying in a peaceful meadow, the softest grass beneath you, and the warm glow of the setting sun all around. The sky is painted in gentle shades of color, and a light breeze whispers through the trees, carrying the sweet scent of pine. Take another deep breath in, filling your lungs with that fresh, calming air. And exhale slowly, letting your worries drift away like little clouds floating across the sky. Feel your toes relax, then your legs, and let that warm, peaceful feeling spread up to your tummy, your chest, and all the way to your shoulders. Let your arms feel heavy and relaxed, like they're sinking into the softest, fluffiest clouds. Now, close your eyes if you haven't already, and imagine you're surrounded by everything that makes you feel safe and happy. Maybe it's the gentle hum of crickets in the distance, or the twinkling of stars beginning to appear above. With each breath, feel yourself sinking deeper into comfort and peace. Know that you are in a place where you are loved and cared for, a place where dreams are sweet and adventures await. You can keep your eyes closed and continue taking deep breaths if you like, as we continue with our story. The Enchanted Queen and the Young Traveler. Once upon a time, there was a ruler who had 3 children, all of them smart, brave, and eager for adventure. They loved their mother dearly, but secretly dreamed of ruling the kingdom themselves one day. The wise ruler noticed their growing impatience and decided to give them a special task to keep them busy and teach them a thing or two. One day the ruler called them together and said, "My dear children, I've been thinking about taking it easy and moving to the countryside. But before I do, I'd love to have a loyal dog as my companion. Whoever brings me the most extraordinary dog within a year will inherit the throne." The 3 children were surprised by this unusual request, but agreed eagerly. Each was determined to find the best dog and win the crown. They said goodbye to their mother, who gave them money, jewels, and a year to complete the task. They promised to meet again on the same day at the same hour with their dogs in tow. The 3 set off, each taking a different path, with a plan to meet again at a special spot near home before returning to the palace. While the 2 older siblings had many exciting adventures, we will follow the youngest, who had a knack for getting into all sorts of situations. This youngest child was full of energy, always cheerful and curious. He was tall and kind and had a way of making friends with everyone he met. As he traveled, he bought all kinds of dogs. Big dogs, small dogs, fluffy dogs, fast dogs, and everything in between. But whenever he found a dog more beautiful than the last, he had to let the previous one go, knowing he couldn't care for so many dogs on his journey. One stormy night, after wandering lost in the pouring rain, the youngest stumbled upon a magnificent castle. It was the kind of place that looked like it belonged in a storybook, with tall towers and sparkling windows. But the strangest thing happened. There were no people in sight. Instead, a dozen little mice appeared, each holding a tiny torch, and they guided the young traveler through room after room, each more splendid than the last. The young traveler couldn't believe his eyes as he passed through 60 rooms filled with glittering jewels, colorful paintings, and shiny treasures. Finally, the mice stopped, and the traveler's wet clothing were whisked away. He was given the softest, most beautiful garments he had ever seen. The mice then led the traveler to a grand banquet hall. There, a small figure, no more than 2 feet tall, entered, followed by a grand procession of cats. The traveler was too astonished to move, as the small figure lifted a long black veil to reveal the most beautiful white cat ever seen. "Welcome, noble traveler," said the white cat in a voice as soft as silk. "I am Queen Felina, and I'm delighted to have you as my guest." The traveler, still amazed, replied, "Your Majesty, you're not like any cat I've ever met. To speak and rule over such a splendid castle? It's incredible." They chatted over a delicious supper, during which the traveler shared stories of his journey. To his surprise, the white cat knew all about the world outside and was keen to hear the latest news. After the meal, a troupe of cats dressed in fancy costumes performed a lively ballet. The white cat then wished the traveler good night, and the mice guided him to a luxurious bedchamber with a bed so soft it felt like sleeping on a cloud. The next morning, the mice woke the traveler with a cheerful squeak. They dressed the traveler in a fine outfit and led him to the courtyard, where the white cat sat on the back of a splendid monkey. Hundreds of cats, all eager for the ride, gathered around. Despite riding only a wooden horse, the traveler found the experience exhilarating. Days turned into weeks, and the young traveler nearly forgot his mission, enjoying the endless fun at the White Cat's castle. But as the year drew to a close, the White Cat gently reminded him, "You have only 3 days left to find a dog for your mother. Your siblings may already have found the most beautiful dogs, so you must hurry." Realizing the urgency, the traveler cried, "How could I have forgotten something so important? Where can I find a dog now? And how will I travel back in time?" The White Cat reassured him with a purr. "Don't worry. The wooden horse will carry you swiftly, and I have the perfect dog for you." She handed him a walnut, saying, "Hold it to your ear, and you'll hear the dog barking inside." When the young man reunited with his siblings, they all returned to the palace with excitement bubbling in their hearts. The 2 older siblings presented their dogs, each so delicate and small that they looked like they were made of porcelain. The ruler, impressed but undecided, turned to the youngest. The youngest child took out the walnut given by the White Cat and cracked it open. Inside was a cherry stone, and within that, a kernel. Inside the kernel was a grain of corn, and finally, inside the grain, there was a tiny dog no bigger than a thumb. The little dog could jump through a ring and dance to the sound of castanets. The ruler was amazed by the dog's perfection. But, still reluctant to part with the throne, their mother announced a new challenge. "You have done well, but now I wish for you to find a piece of cloth so fine that it can pass through the eye of the smallest needle. Return in a year with your findings." Once again, the siblings set off. The youngest returned to the White Cat, who welcomed him back with a joyful purr. Another year passed in delightful companionship, filled with laughter and games. As the day of reckoning approached, the White Cat presented the young man with another nut. Upon breaking it open, he found a piece of cloth so fine that it passed 6 times through the eye of the smallest needle, with the most exquisite scenes woven into its threads. When he arrived at the palace, the 2 older siblings had already presented their pieces of cloth. Both were incredibly fine, but neither could pass through the smallest needle's eye. The youngest cloth, however, slipped through with ease, leaving everyone speechless at its beauty. The ruler, still not ready to give up the throne, announced one final challenge. Whoever brings back the most thoughtful person to be their partner will inherit the throne. Understanding the difficulty of the task, but not wanting to disobey, the young man returned to the White Cat's castle. The White Cat told him, "This time, you must find the most thoughtful person in the world. I will help you, but first, you must do something for me." The White Cat asked him to release her from the castle forever. The young man was sad but agreed, knowing it was the right thing to do. As he watched the White Cat leave, tears filled his eyes, for he had grown fond of his kind and mysterious friend. But as soon as the White Cat disappeared into the forest, an extraordinary transformation occurred. The White Cat reappeared, no longer a cat, but an amazingly kind and thoughtful person. a queen, surrounded by courtiers who had once been cats. The newly restored queen explained, "A wicked spell turned me into a cat, and it is your kindness that has freed me." The queen and the young man set off in a grand carriage. When they arrived at the palace, the travelers' siblings were already there, each with an amazingly thoughtful companion. They laughed when they heard their youngest sibling had brought a cat. However, as the queen stepped out of her crystal carriage, her gracefulness outshone everyone else. The ruler, overwhelmed by her radiance, declared, "This person is truly without equal and deserves the throne." The queen responded with a gentle smile, "I do not wish to take the throne from you. I have 6 kingdoms of my own. I offer one to you and one to each of your children, in exchange for marrying your youngest child." The ruler agreed, and the court erupted in joy. The marriages of all 3 siblings were celebrated with grand festivities, and each went on to rule their respective kingdoms. The queen and the youngest child lived happily ever after, remembered for their kindness, wisdom, and the lessons they learned along the way. If you are awake, I would like you to whisper to yourself or say in your mind, "I am kind, and my kindness makes the world a better place." I believe in myself and my ability to overcome challenges. I can see the beauty in everyone and everything around me. I am strong, both in my heart and in my mind. I can solve any problem with patience and a little creativity. I am calm, relaxed, and peaceful. Good night. Sleep tight.